Hello and welcome to another episode of the Six and Out podcast brought to you by Sports News Blitz. I'm Bilal, joined by Dejan, and today we've got a big one. It's the T20 World Cup preview. Well, Dejan, it's that time again. Another T20 World Cup, this time in India and Sri Lanka. I mean, first of all, are you excited? How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. It's always a good time because the T20 World Cup, then the IPL's following it as well. It's very exciting as a fan, and yeah, hopefully we get a really exciting tournament that draws more fans to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, for the second straight T20 World Cup, this time there'll be 20 teams, um, four groups of five teams, all battling out to be crowned champions. And obviously, India, they were the sort of reigning champions. Can they do it? Can they be the first ever team to win on home soil? Believe it or not, no team has won the T20 World Cup on home soil. So a lot of questions will be answered in the next month or so. But just ahead of the tournament, obviously, we've had a few changes. I mean, initially, Bangladesh, who were meant to be in England's group, they've pulled out and they've been replaced by Scotland, who were the highest ranked ICC team who hadn't qualified. Um, I just want to get your thoughts. I mean, it's in a way, it's sort of come out of the blue. I don't know if it's to do with Mustafizur Rahman's transfer to Kolkata Knight Riders being the only Bangladeshi player. I mean, what's your sort of take on all of this?
Um, it's a weird one because obviously I feel like there's a lot of factors that have gone into obviously this decision. India and Bangladesh right now aren't on great terms, and I don't think Mustafizur's deal was like the start of it. I feel like there was stuff going into it, and then that obviously I think just led to Bangladesh just saying, like, no, we're not doing it. And it's a big miss because is always one of those nations that they can always compete. They've always got they've always had the players to do it. But yeah, obviously it's their decision. There's not much that we can do about it as fans. We just have to see where the tournament goes now, especially with Scotland. See how Scotland do.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, they weren't on the best of terms. I know India pulled out their ODI series against Bangladesh.
Yeah,
Just like in this past year or last year or so. So, yeah, it definitely hasn't been the best in terms of the politics side of things. But yeah, I mean, for Scotland, what an opportunity this is. I mean,
yeah, true.
3 weeks ago, they probably would have just had their feet up, probably watching the cricket on the TV. But I mean, for Scotland, this is a major opportunity for them to just sort of just show out under sort of no real pressure and just put in a performance.
Yeah, 100%. Because you look at some of their players as well. They've got a few players that I remember. Callum McLeod's always been someone that has like always scored a lot of runs. He scored runs in like ODI series against England and T20 series as well. He's done it at T20 Blast. Players like him, and there's obviously other players as well. This is a lot of eyes will be on Scotland. They might just think, you know what, we're a team that no one thought we were going to be here. I don't think we thought we were going to be here. So let's surprise a few people. So they're definitely a team to watch out for.
Yeah, definitely. And just moving on then, just recently, there was even more news that Pakistan would refuse to play their scheduled game against India in Colombo. We know as of recently that India and Pakistan, whenever they do play, it has to be on neutral ground.
Yeah,
If one of the teams were the host, because with Pakistan hosting the Champions Trophy last year, they played in UAE, and with the T20 World Cup, they're playing in Sri Lanka. But I don't know if it's sort of come off the back of the incident with Bangladesh pulling out, but I mean, Pakistan, it is a huge risk sort of forfeiting those 2 points. I mean, in a way, it sort of puts pressure on them to sort of win every game in their group. I mean, just on the sort of political side of things. I mean, no one wants to see this. No cricket fans want to see this sort of situation happen. I mean, but I mean, yeah. I mean, just how disappointing is this for not just for the two teams, but just for cricket in general?
yeah, massively. This is arguably the biggest rivalry in cricket. Obviously, there might be people might say England and Australia, but I think just in all formats, this is the biggest rivalry. And you're not just talking about like the cricket itself. You're talking about the money behind it as well. This is always the fixture that gets the most viewership. This is always the fixture that will generate the most revenue. So it's going to be a massive. It's going to be a massive miss. Obviously, it's great for an India fan because it's it's 2 points basically, essentially. But it's obviously tough as just a fan of cricket in general because this is a fixture that everyone looks forward to because, as I said, the money that's involved, the viewership, the rivalry there, and yeah, obviously there's always been stuff going on between India and Pakistan, but for them to pull out of this game and forfeit it feels like there is something, an internal issue, a real internal issue there. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, it definitely does seem that, I mean, governments have gotten involved. I mean, we saw in the Asia Cup when they did play each other, there was sort of no handshakes after the toss, after the match, and it just isn't things you want to see. And I mean, who knows? Who knows? You never know. I mean, maybe ICC pulled them together, but as it stands, it does look like those two will be playing each other.
Yeah, I mean, the Asia Cup, there was definitely a rivalry there in the Asia Cup with everything that was going on, with Haris Rauf and some of his celebrations, and India were kind of like, a lot of Indians were very upset about that. Then they started kind of making fun of him. So there's definitely something there. But the Asia Cup was in September, so it is quite a long time ago now. But clearly, there's been maybe some other stuff that's gone on. And there's obviously a massive internal issue there, which is why Pakistan have decided to forfeit the game.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard, but I do think when it comes to, well, the schedule of India that were meant to be playing Pakistan, they still have to go to Colombo, fly out, do a press conference, train, and then just fly back home. I mean, I don't see the point in that. I mean, if it's confirmed that Pakistan are definitely not playing, then they may as well just stay in India.
But it's probably just like the business side of it.
Again. Okay, yeah.
It costs money to hold press conferences and everything.
True.
And it's always, you want to, maybe they might think, we might try and make some money out of it, like with the press conference or something. But again, as I said, in terms of viewership and revenue, this is a huge blow for cricket because this is always a fixture that in any tournament, this is always a fixture that will always happen. India and Pakistan are always in the same group. It's because of the amount of viewership that it gets. But now, because it won't be there, it's a huge detriment and a huge blow to cricket.
Yeah, definitely. And then just sticking with India, obviously they're the defending champions. Obviously that sort of crazy final in Barbados against South Africa. A lot has changed since then. New coach, players retiring. We had Virat Kohli retire. Rohit Sharma retire, Ravindra Jadeja retire in the T20 formats. And then sort of there's this new look squad, a few returning faces and then a few new look squad. And in terms of preparation, to be honest, they look unbeatable. I mean, I don't know if you want to give your thoughts. How do you think sort of this 2-year transition has gone leading up to this World Cup?
I think it's gotten stronger in the 2 years. But do I think that's necessarily the coach's thing? No, I think that's more... My thoughts on Gambhir... I'm not going to let them cloud my judgment. Could taken away T20 cricket. India in T20 cricket in the last 2 years has been dominant, but I don't necessarily think that's a coach's thing. I think that's more because of the amount of depth we have and the quality that we have. Because we've gone to places like South Africa and we've won and we've battered them out of the game. We went to England came to India and in T20 format and we not necessarily blitzed them. But we beat them quite comprehensively. And, New Zealand, we've done the same thing. We went over to Australia and we competed there. So in the T20 format, we are, right now, probably looking the strongest going into this tournament. And we are by far and away the favourites. But the big question is how are we going to handle that?
Yeah, I mean, one name that just springs to mind, you talk about India's comprehensive win is Abhishek Sharma. I mean, him at the top. I mean, he's sort of been... as you say, blitzing bowlers all over the world.
But just in general, I think the players, because I think you look at the top 7 right now, and it'll be Abhishek Sharma, probably Ishan Kishan, Tilak Varma 3, who has scored a lot of runs for us in the last 2 years, Surya, captain 4, who's just got back into form. So there's another world-class player there. And then you look at the middle, you look at the kind of but beyond that, you've got Hardik Pandya, Shivam Dubey, Akshar Patel, Rinku Singh, who's a finisher. That's such a formidable batting lineup such a powerful batting lineup that you'd be able to just bat teams out of the game because of how good they are. I mean, if Abhishek Sharma gets going at any time in this tournament, it's almost not guaranteed that India win, but they're going to get a big score if he gets going because they've got the firepower beyond that to go and turn that great start from Abhishek into a score of 240, 250, at times 270. Like, we've been that good. The only question I'd say is the bowling, though, because in the series against New Zealand, I feel like we gave away a lot of runs in the series against New Zealand. As good as the bowling lineup is, at times, we were conceding over 200 runs easily. And it's all well and good batting teams out of the game, but you're not going to be able to do that forever.
I mean, it just goes to show how much India trusts their depth when they're able to drop Shubman Gill, Sanju Samson when he was opening, and then him not being in the best of form, and then bringing a guy like Ishan Kishan who can always tonk it around along with Abhishek. So, as you mentioned, the bowling could be a concern. Could that just be a case of just missing Hardik Pandya? And with him being back, that sort of brings a bit more stability in the bowling, along with the spinners.
Maybe, but I just think, again, just what I've been concerned about is like Bumrah's form going in that series against New Zealand. A couple of times, he showed us his quality, but a lot of times he was giving away a lot of runs. We have the depth in bowling. We have a lot of all-rounders. We have, two spinners. We have a lot of pace bowlers, good pace bowlers. But I'm just slightly worried some of the form of the pace bowlers going into the tournament. Because if we consistently keep conceding over 200, we won't win. We'll struggle to win games. As good as the batting lineup is, if you consistently concede over 200 runs in the bowling, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there is that factor of due as well, potentially in the second innings as well. So if India have to bat in the first innings and don't put an above par total, I mean, and like you mentioned, with the bowling being the weak point, it could all come crashing down. I mean, in 2016, I remember in 2016 that was sort of the issue where the batting sort of 1 or 2 days where the batting underperformed, and then the bowlers. I mean, you had Virat Kohli bowling to try save them. So,
this was the difference in the 2024 World Cup. I think the reason why we won that is because our bowling was that good, because of the form of the likes of Bumrah and Arshdeep Singh. But I just think that going into the series, what I saw against New Zealand, we were just giving away a lot of easy runs. And that could change, obviously. We know Bumrah's got more than enough quality to come back. But it's one thing I'm just slightly worried about going into the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you had a guy like Kuldeep who missed like the group games in the USA, and then when he got to the Caribbean, he played every game and it was like the third highest Indian wicket taker or something. So, I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, and the spinners as well. You've got Varun Chakravarti there as well. He didn't play in 2024, so they can blow teams out. But I think the biggest test will be in that Super 8s and then potential semi-final and final as well. I mean, we'll get there as the tournament progresses. But just moving on to Pakistan, then obviously they've lost the game already pretty much. But they actually kick off their tournament against Netherlands tomorrow. I mean, essentially, that's a must-win already. I mean, all the games are a must-win. I mean, the rest of the group, you're looking at Namibia and USA, and Pakistan fans, they'll have PTSD of that game against the USA. I mean, in Dallas. I mean, surely not. Surely they can't miss out on the Super 8s again. I mean, apart from India, well, I mean, they've conceded 2 points already. I mean, they should breeze past the other 3 teams, given the conditions in Sri Lanka.
100%. 100%, and not just the conditions or anything, just the quality of the team. Because that team still has like enough quality to be near that thereabouts. You have Babar Azam, of course. You have Shadab Khan. Interestingly, no Rizwan, which is quite interesting. I've just checked the squad, but I mean, like again, Shaheen Shah, Afidi, Naseem Shah, Abraz, the spinner. There's more than enough quality there to be near the end of the tournament, but Pakistan, I just feel like in the last year, I think that 2024 World Cup, I think it affected them badly. I feel like the way that they performed, they didn't even make it out the groups. They just looked like a poor team, like a team just void of confidence and void of ideas. But I think since Mike Hesson's come in and kind of given more opportunities to younger players, they've been a bit better. I think in the Asia Cup they were good in the Asia Cup. They made a very good effort in the final. They nearly beat us. So as I said, they've got more than enough quality to come back and definitely compete. But again, it's going to be how you bounce back in a tournament like this after what happened in the last tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I think Mike Hessen as well. He's been very bold in his selection making. There was a time where Baba and Rizwan were dropped, and then they backed players like Saibzada Farhan, Saim Ayub, and then Salman Agha as the captain, sort of just like mentoring these young folks. I mean, I think their biggest quality is their spin. I mean, Abrar. I mean, we saw in the Asia Cup, he's so economical. When Abhishek's tonking all the other Pakistani bowlers, you've got Abrar there just keeping it tight, and then you've got Mohammad Nawaz. You've got Saim Ayub, he's quite handy with spin. I mean, the way they played, they only set up with two paces and then they just stack with spin all rounders. And I think that could work in Sri Lankan conditions.
Yeah, in Asian conditions, that will always benefit them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we saw that in the Asia Cup. The only concern I'd have for Pakistan is sort of their wicketkeeper. Who is their go-to wicketkeeper? We've seen Mohammad Haris be in the Asia Cup and then get dropped and not play in recent series. They've tried guys like Khawaja Nafei, who's sort of a young player. We've only really seen him in the PSL, and then they've tried Farhan, the opener, as a wicketkeeper, but he's not really a wicketkeeper. So there is that sort. And then Usman Khan, I forgot, who played in the last T20 World Cup.
Yeah, that's probably who I'm thinking they'll go with.
Yeah,
just for that kind of experience. Well, I mean, the stats here aren't great for him. You know, strike rate of 120, average of 19. So it's not incredible. It's not great, but if Farhan's not Farhan will play obviously, but if he's not a keeper, then you want to go into this tournament with a settled keeper.
Yeah,
especially in Asian conditions where the ball spins a lot more. You need to have a solid keeper. So I suspect that Usman Khan will be the keeper going into this tournament, because again, you have to go into this tournament assured in every position. If Farhan's not a consistent keeper, he shouldn't be keeping. It's that simple.
Yeah, and the other issue for Pakistan has been their strike rates, in particular with their batters. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Baba. Like, he's not going to go be like Abhishek, get 50 or 20. He's going to build his innings, then accelerate deeper into the innings. So they do sort of still have that template of like guys around him need to accelerate quickly. And when you have Salman Agha, he's not really a T20 batter. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Farhan, he's struggled with strike rate. The only real like power hitters they've got is probably Saim Ayub, maybe Shadab, and then maybe
Fakhar Zaman.
Mohammad Nawaz and Fakhar as well. Yeah. So that could be an issue later in the tournament, but I think against the smaller teams like your Netherlands and your Namibia, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But in the Super 8s, that could be an issue.
That's one problem with India and Pakistan not playing against India. That takes about 85% of Fakhar's runs for the tournament out of the game.
Yeah, that's true.
He scored so many runs against India in the last couple of years. But I don't think... Obviously, in T20 cricket, you always want higher strike rates, but I don't necessarily think in Asian conditions it's the worst thing in the world to have kind of lower strike rates, because notoriously there are just lower scores in India in Asian conditions. So there is a slight advantage to maybe having a lower strike rate, but you feel like if you want to progress heavily into the tournament, you're going to need batsmen who are capable of scoring your 200, 220 runs like consistently. And I don't know necessarily, apart from some exceptions, I don't know if they have the firepower to do that.
Yeah, and I think Pakistan's games are during like day as well, so it's like they can sort of bat first, set a target of like 160, 170, and just spin the other teams out the game. Like they did in the Asia Cup to teams like Oman and the UAE. So yeah, I think they should be good for Super 8s, but knowing Pakistan and their history, I mean they can probably beat an Australia and lose to a USA again. I mean that's just the way it goes. But yeah, do you have India Pakistan make it top 2 then, even despite with Pakistan's forfeit?
In Group A, yeah, I'm quite confident in that.
Yeah.
In Group A, you know, nothing against Namibia and USA and Netherlands, but in Asian conditions, it's much more different to play in these in Asian conditions as opposed to playing in like an Australia or a West Indies or something.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, you have to be back Pakistan and India to make top 2.
Yeah. Moving on to Group B now. This includes Australia, Sri Lanka, Ireland, Oman, and Zimbabwe. For me, this could be the group of death.
Not for one team.
Oh yeah. Not for one team, but it's an open group. I do say so because I mean we'll start with who we think should top the group in Australia. But I
Yeah,
mean they've got their pace trio out. I think it's just been confirmed that Cummins is now out, and they've
yeah,
already had Hazelwood, and then Stark's obviously retired.
yeah.
So they're going with a much changed team from previous tournaments, and my question is, I mean, can they cope with that trio? I mean, I know pace bowling is not the real sort of factor in places like Sri Lanka, but will a team like Australia, how will they sort of go about things? You think?
In the pace department, it's weird because I think Xavier Bartlett will play because he has been kind of a fringe player in that T20 side. So I think I'm quite confident he'll play. I think Nathan Ellis again will play. He's got experience. He's played at a relatively high level in T20 Blast and in other competitions around the world. So I'll say probably Xavier Bartlett as well. And then the third, I don't know if they're necessarily going to go in with three seamers. They might go in with two and maybe just go with more spinners like Kunneman and Zampa. I feel like that would probably work as well. So they've still got strength there. They've still got the strength and quality to get top one in the and with the pace bowling lineup, they've got the strength and quality to do it. But yeah, it's just going to be weird not seeing Cummins, Hazelwood, and Stark there because they have been just a staple for that team for so long. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare without them.
Yeah, another thing is obviously the batting as well. They'll have new guys like Matt Short who could potentially open with Travis Head. Even guys like Josh Philippe. I mean, these guys they've done well in BBL, but let's see how it goes in terms of an international ICC tournament. And even guys like Stoinis, Maxwell, are they the same players as they were a couple of years ago? Um, it'll be interesting to see how like as a team they sort of perform. Not necessarily against the smaller teams, but I think Australia Sri Lanka will be a good test, and then potentially going into the Super Eights if they qualify as well.
Yeah, I feel like Travis Head is going to play a big factor in determining where Australia is going to end up because there is a bit more inexperience around him. I think Cam Green will definitely be playing. Tim David, Mitch Marsh obviously is a very good player and captaining as well. But with the form that he's been in after the Ashes series, you feel like Travis Head's going to be the big one for Australia. If Travis Head can have a great tournament, you feel like Australia will be close to the final. If he struggles, then Australia could have a poor tournament if he struggles.
Yeah, I mean, in that recent series against Pakistan in Pakistan, they did sort of rest the players of like Marsh and whatnot as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with a fully fit firing squad, I do think that they should have no excuses to not top the group and not go far in this tournament. And in the last edition of the World Cup, it was disappointing seeing them miss out on a semi-final spot, losing to I think it was Afghanistan they lost to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, they'll definitely want to right the wrongs of that.
It was great because we'd have lost to Australia in the semi-final or final if we'd have played them. We'd have 100% lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Australian finals is just we don't talk about
We
it.
always lose to them. We always
Exactly. Yeah, to the other team in this group, Sri Lanka. I mean, they're the hosts. I mean, in ICC tournaments, it's just been a bit of a struggle. Even in the Asia Cup, they didn't even make it to the Super Fours. The 2024 edition didn't even make it to the Super Eights. 2025 Champions Trophy, they weren't even there. And then the 2023 ODI World Cup, they haven't. They finished eighth. So it's not been good. And you think with the Sri Lankan team, they've sort of had this core of players for a long time now, like Patum Nisanka, Charith Asalanka,
Shanaka, captain.
Ashanaka, and then Teekshana, Wanindu Hasaranga as well. They've had this core sort of since COVID, and you feel like they can put it together in a bilateral series, even going away to some places like Australia or an India or in England as well. But when it comes to ICC tournaments, they always just falter and come up short. Is this the time now, given that they're at home, they're going to play most of their games at home, is this the time now to put it together and go for a run, go for a Super Eights, maybe reach the semi-final?
Well, this squad, they probably won't have a better opportunity to. Because the squad itself, and this is always something that I've been very surprised with Sri Lanka, how much they struggled in these tournaments. Because the squad they have, they've got a seriously good lineup with, as I said, Nisanka, Kamindu Mendes has been unbelievable in international cricket. I think Shanaka is captain as a finisher. He's been outstanding. Hasaranga's always been one of the top bowlers in the world, and obviously he's improved a lot with his bat, with the bat as well. Kusal Mendes, Kusal Pereira as keepers. But I mean, Patirana, if in the bowling, Patirana's, you feel like is going to have to, if they're going to go far in this tournament, he's going to play a big part with in the pace bowling, kind of leading that attack, because he'll give them overs at the death as well. He'll maybe give them one over at the end of a power play, and then the middle overs and the death overs, and then of course you've also got Hasaranga who can help that as well. So it's a good lineup. It's a very strong lineup. The only issue I'm thinking of maybe is at the beginning of games. I feel like Dusmanta Chamira is going to have to kind of carry the power play bowling on his attack, which is a problem because there's not many other power play bowlers out there. Theekshana might do it sometimes, but a spinner bowling in the power play is going to be an issue. But Sri Lanka have got the squad to compete.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that recent series against England, it would have been disappointing losing 3-0, but I do think they kept the games close. And given the scores,
100%.
I know some of the games are rained off, but it was definitely low scoring. And there are parts when bowlers can dominate. And you think when all their bowlers are firing, especially Chamir in the power play, the spinners, and then you got, like you mentioned, Patirana at the death. I mean, they can sort of chokehold teams. And then with the batting, I think their batting has been consistent. I think their batting is out of the Asian teams, it's probably better than a team like Pakistan. Not as good as an India, but I think they're up there. But like you mentioned, it's just
the only question is just going to be consistency, especially.
Exactly. That's the thing. Can they put it all together on the day? And against an island Oman Zimbabwe, yes, especially at home. But against Australia, it'll be a lot difficult. So that Australia Sri Lanka game will sort of be a telling sign for both them teams in terms of how they'll go deeper into the tournament.
100%.
I think so. I'd say we have Australia Sri Lanka top 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm just looking at maybe Ireland. I think they've played 2 series recently. They've beaten. I mean, I guess against Italy and UAE. But I'm a big fan of their squad. I mean, they've got like Curtis Camphor, Harry Tector, Paul Sterling still going.
Wow.
And then in the bowling, I really like Josh Little, that left arm pacer, and then Mark Adair as well. I honestly don't count Ireland out. It'll be hard because I don't think the conditions might suit their strengths.
I feel like Ireland always have like 1 or 2 games in a tournament where they'll just shock everyone.
Oh
like
yeah, definitely.
They'll just have like a surprise win, which no one will expect.
I mean,
so if they do that, especially in the group games where there's not as many group games, there's a strong chance if they turn around and shock like on Australia or something. That'd be doing everyone else in the tournament, every other team in the tournament, a huge favour.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. They beat England in 2022. I don't think they picked up any wins in the last one because I think they lost to Canada and then they lost to India and Pakistan when they were in that group. So they'll want to correct that. But I do think, like Sri Lanka, Ireland, they sort of do have a settled squad. I do think their team's more suited for ODI cricket. But, I mean, you never know in the T20 game. So, and it's not like they don't have the firepower. So I do think if a team is going to get close to Australia and Sri Lanka, I think it will be Ireland. Moving on then, I think we go on to Group C. This is a... And I think, again, apart from...
This is the England-West Indies top 2 if ever there was one.
You reckon? You reckon?
Look, Scotland are,
Listen. Before you go, I'll remind you, Nepal did beat West Indies 3-0 in a recent bilateral series. It was in the UAE. It was in the UAE.
Is that in T20s or ODIs?
Yeah, T20s.
Okay. But realistically...
Yeah, as you say, when it comes to tournament, let's see.
They're only going to be playing West Indies once. But, I don't see anyone else other than England and West Indies getting top 2.
Yeah.
Like, I know Scotland, as I said, they just might be the shock team because no one thought they were going to be here. And then they might just go on a run. But just based on the quality of the players, and I know West Indies in the last couple of years, we haven't gotten along as much because I've said a lot of stuff about them, their Test cricket and their ODI cricket. But the T20 format, they have always had the squad to compete in T20s because they've always just had that firepower. And
Yeah, definitely.
I talk about it, especially in conditions like this, where you want a batting lineup that is confident that if you can concede over 200 runs, your batting lineup can chase it down if they have the firepower to do that. West Indies have always had that, and that's why they won it in 2016 because they've always had that firepower. Yeah, I know they don't have the Chris Gales anymore. I know they don't have Carlos Brathwaite's anymore, but Hetmeyer, Rovman Powell, Rutherford, Jason Holder, Romario Shepherd, Shea Hope. That's a very solid batting lineup there, and that's a batting lineup that if you concede over 200, they could chase that down.
Yeah, definitely. It is a team suited to the T20 game. And you mentioned that win in 2016. Their first game is actually back at Eden Gardens against Scotland. So they'll have some good memories. Obviously, Darren Sammy leading them as well. So, there has been concern with their sort of form in bilaterals. I mean, they've lost 6 out of the last 7 since July of last year. I mean, but as we mentioned, the squad itself should be capable to handle the teams like Scotland, Italy, and Nepal. But I mean, England will face a different challenge because I do think England, they are one of the most formed teams, believe it or not. Along with India, they actually are one of the most formed teams heading into the T20 World Cup. They've actually won 10 out of their 11 T20 matches they've played since the summer of last year, and. And to think of it, it's the first ICC tournament under Harry Brook. He was only announced as captain at the start of last summer. And to think how quick it's gone. And I know we'd like to talk bad about their tests and their ODIs, but in the T20, there has been some sort of success. I mean, can Harry Brook carry that over into the World Cup?
Well, the T20 format is where Bazball actually works, realistically.
Exactly.
So, yeah, again, you want to talk about firepower. This is as good as it gets. Like, as you said, Harry Brook is obviously captain. You suspect he'll probably bat at number 4, number 5. But Salt, and then obviously there's Butler as well. Will Jacks, Tom Banton's come in, especially in that series against Sri Lanka and looked fantastic. Bit lower.
Yeah, Banton can play at like 3 or like be a finisher at number 6 or 7. So
there's a lot of flexibility there with that batting lineup.
Yeah, and Bethel as well. He's one of them. He could be a number 3 or go lower down as well. So they have a lot of flexibility.
That's the same with the likes of Jackson Butler as well. They are able to do
exactly.
That. So there is so much flexibility there, and again, Bazball actually works in the T20 format because they play aggressive cricket will suit that, and they have the firepower again, and that's why they've had such good form because the depth of the batting and the quality of the batting has been that good. I think Salt at the top of the order, especially in the last year or two, the last 2 or 3 years, has just become one of, if not the premier kind of T20 opening batsmen in the world in terms of the runs that he gets, the consistency that he gets them, and the way he gets them as well. I think it complements everyone else really well when you have a player like that who could consistently get you off to starts. And then, as I said, you have the Bethels and the Brooks and the Butlers after that. Again, England are always going to be a tough team to face in this tournament, always.
Yeah, and I think it helps as well that Sam Curran is back in form. I mean, if England can get the Sam Curran of 2022, where he was like picking up minimum 4 wickets and scoring runs,
he won player of the tournament, didn't he?
Yeah. If England can get that version of Sam Curran, and especially in Asian conditions where he can, give 2 overs with the ball, he can score with the bat. Like I say, with the batting order, he could come in from like numbers 3 to 7 as well. So, I think that's going to be the key: is how well the sort of pace bowling all rounders complement Archer as well with the ball as well as batting, because you've got Overton there as well, along with Sam Curran. It's going to be about finding that balance as well. Like, do you go with an out-and-out pacer along with Archer? I mean, because you've got guys like Luke Wood in there. He's more of a power play like specialist.
I think that would suit him more though, because I suspect Sam Curran.
Or do you trust the batting depth? That's the key issue.
Based on what I've seen in the T20 for England in the T20 formats, I suspect Sam Curran will bowl more at the death for them. I feel like he's more of a death bowler, more suited to it. So, and you have the advantage of Archer with the fact that he can bowl a lot at the top. He can bowl good spells at the top as well as bowl at the death as well.
Yeah.
So I suspect that they might go with Luke Wood, just a left arm option. He gets the ball to swing in a lot more, and he's a very good power play bowler. And as well as that, and then you just have the flexibility after that with, as I said, the spinners, and then you have Archer who can, if you want to go Archer and Wood at the top, and then have Archer at the death, and then Sam Curran can go at the death for you, and the spinners in the middle. I think that's a very flexible way of going about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it can go south, but I think if they get it right and they get the bowlers in their roles to perform at their best, I think it should be good enough, especially with the batting they have. The only thing for England, I mean, their kryptonite in the past has been playing against European teams at World Cups. I don't know what it is, but every time they have to play a European team at a T20 World Cup, whether it be Scotland, Ireland, Netherlands back in 2009, they always lose. And even if it means they go advance. And this time around, there's 2 European teams now with Scotland and Italy in their group. I mean, look, I'm not going to allude to anything, but if history repeats itself...
Can we call it Italy? Can we call it Italy? With the... You know what? It's actually not even that bad of a team.
No, it isn't. I mean, we could touch on them.
But that's not because of, there's a couple of probably Italian players there. A lot of them have just been former, South African.
Oh yeah, Joe Burns. Yeah, JJ Smuts. Yeah. But I mean, hey, credit to them because they actually qualified. Unlike Scotland, they actually qualified for the European qualifier, along with the Netherlands. So
yeah, they've got quality. They have quality.
Yeah, definitely, and they've won. They won their warm up match today by 100+ runs. I've got who was against. I'll have to check. But yeah, I mean Italy, like Scotland, they're just gonna have a bang out. I think they'll go for it. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows their football team probably won't make it to the FIFA World Cup. So why can't their cricket team show a bit of justice? So
what kind of world are we living in where the Italy football team can't make it to the major tournament?
Yeah, literally. You tell a stranger Italy have qualified for the World Cup. You instantly assume football.
Yeah.
The fact that it's cricket it's astonishing, and honestly,
will Chiesa open for the batting team? Will Federico Chiesa open for the batting team? He might as well, because to be fair, he ain't getting a chance at Liverpool.
Oh no, yeah. Honestly, he doesn't like him. But yeah, beyond, let's forget about Liverpool right now. Yeah, I do think Italy, Scotland, they'll have the ball, and even Nepal. I mean, they're very much a up and coming young side led by Rohit Patel. They've had a few tournaments under their belt now. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If West Indies don't get their act together, as we've seen in the bilaterals, a Scotland or a Nepal, and even maybe an Italy, I think they'll be right there.
I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see.
It'll be a massive shock. It'll be a massive
definitely,
shock.
And the upset potential is there. But I have England first, West Indies second, and the rest, who knows?
But what I will say is, it should be. But if there was any team that was ever going to bottle this, it would be West Indies.
Yeah.
If there's any team that would just have one loss and then just completely fall off a cliff, it would be West Indies. So yeah, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the other teams, but it just based off quality.
Yeah.
You have to go with England and West Indies as top 2. You have to.
Yeah. I do think it'll be a very exciting group though. Especially the matches between the other teams, Scotland, Italy. Who saw that coming? In Mumbai, it's crazy. But yeah, moving on to Group D then. I think this is the most stacked group in terms of there's 3 teams who could probably get top 2.
Yeah.
We've got South Africa, New Zealand, Afghanistan, UAE, and Canada. We'll start with South Africa, the previous runners-up of the 2024 edition. My question about South Africa to you is, are they favourites along with India? Have they sort of sustained their form from 2 years on? They've got the cock out of retirement. Can they do it? And I think they're one of the best teams in Asian conditions. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the 2023 ODI World Cup. Their players seem to perform in Asian conditions. So can they break the trophy curse? Or is that too much of a stretch? And how far will they go?
I mean, they already kind of broke the trophy curse last year with the
Oh yeah.
But Yeah, if India weren't as strong as they were, South Africa would definitely be one of the favourites. I mean, they still are. They still are one of the top teams and one of the strongest teams because, as I said, the way they've kind of bounced back from the T20 World Cup loss and the quality that they've shown. I mean, they came over to India and we struggled in a lot of those games. We just barely got through because of performances from other individual players. But South Africa definitely have a squad that can 100% win this tournament. I would be shocked, really, as you know, as like obviously as strong as that group is and as difficult as that group could be. I'd be shocked if South Africa didn't get either in the semi-finals or the final. I'd be shocked because of how good they've been and how strong they are. You know, you talk about de Kock. Markram, I think, has been a phenomenal captain for that team, and he's really stood out with the bat. And just the firepower, as I said, you know, the David Millers, the Brevises, the Tristan Stubbs, Rickleton, and as well the bowling lineup is always as good as it can be. So South Africa, as I said, I'd be shocked if they didn't top the group and then make it to at least the semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that pressure. Like they haven't won a white ball trophy in a long time, so
Yeah,
as you mentioned, and I think along with India, South Africa's batting power is probably the second best. It's up there with India. I think it
yeah,
is.
I'd say so.
I mean,
I'd say so.
in the recent series against the West Indies, they chased what 225 in 17.3 overs. I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, Quinton de Kock scoring 115 or 49. I mean, if he can find that form, um, if we see prime de Kock, I think he can rival Abhishek in terms of like South Africa just chasing games, beating anyone and everyone, and potentially, yeah, like you mentioned, go to that final and maybe winning it. Who knows? Maybe we see a repeat of the final, India South Africa.
Yeah, I just feel like this is a team that's just growing, like as a team.
Mm,
It's
definitely.
just improving, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So they are 100% definitely one of the favourites to win it. I don't think they are the favourite, but they are definitely one of.
I
But
agree.
if if they get to a final, or if they get to the final again, there's no reason why anyone should bet against them now
Oh yeah,
because of how good and how powerful that team is.
and they've had that experience, trauma, whatever you want to call it, from
Exactly,
2024, and
exactly.
they definitely want to get rid of that and obviously win the thing if they get there. So yeah, moving on then. New Zealand. I mean, they actually failed to make the Super Eights last time out. They got tipped by I think it was Afghanistan and the West Indies in the Caribbean. Um, yeah, with New Zealand, it's a tricky one because they've sort of had like a transitional phase with guys like Trent Bolt retiring, Matt Henry as well.
Kane
Um,
Williamson.
Kane Williamson as well. So I still do think their squad is capable. We've seen in the India series that even though they lost, I think they've still got the firepower there. The likes of Glenn Phillips, Daryl Mitchell. I think they're two of the best all rounders in the game, in the white ball game anyway. So yeah, my question is, can they compete this time around? And will the sort of newish sort of look squad can they go far?
Definitely, definitely. Again, you can say that about any team. Like any team can go far, but
Yeah.
realistically, this New Zealand team, based on what I saw in India, especially with the bat, they've got five. They've got quality. They've got quality. I think Tim Seifert's kind of really emerged in the last couple of years and become a kind of a T20 master with the bat. You know, he scores runs quickly. He plays good cricket. He plays good cricket shots as well as scoring runs quickly. As I said, I think having Finn Allen or Devon Conway opening alongside him, that's especially with Finn Allen. What I saw in that one game, the final game against India, he he belted us all over the park. You know, he scored runs very quickly, and Conway can do that as well. It wasn't in the best form in India, but he can turn it around. We've seen that. But again, like you said, Daryl Mitchell's, the Glenn Phillips, Santner's kind of come on leaps and bounds with the bat and as a captain, and he's one of the best bowlers in the world. You know, big question I'd say is Sodhi as a spinner, because he was very expensive in the series against India, and you don't really want that from your lead spinner, especially in Asian conditions. So that's going to be a question. But I mean, look, Jacob Duffy's been one of the best T20 bowlers in the last year or two. He got to number one ranking in the T20 format. Kyle Jamieson in the series against India looked incredible with the ball. So they've got a very, very solid team, and although they are dealing with the absences of the likes of Trent Bolt, and obviously the Kane Williamsons and the Southees. It's a young team, but it's a very good team, and it's a team that's growing and improving, like South Africa. So definitely, they can definitely do that. One thing I am maybe slightly worried about is the number 3 position, because as good as Rechin Ravinja is, and I just don't think T20 is particularly his strongest format. At the top, he's a very good player, but he's not a Phil Salt kind of player. He's not a Travis Head kind of player. He'll be a player that will score you runs, but will he do it at a good enough strike rate to the point where you can win a tournament? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
that's
very
one. Yeah, definitely, and that's one thing that could come back to bite them. Given that, I mean, Finn Allen, if he doesn't get off to the starts that we've seen in that last T20 against India and in the Big Bash as well. Yeah, the likes of Conway, Ravindra, they haven't been in the best of form, and
Yeah,
those two guys, I mean, if they sort of don't be up to par with the bat, I mean, it leaves a lot of pressure on the likes of Phillips, Mitchell, who you want in a position where New Zealand can just attack in like the last 5 or 6 overs and have enough runs to bat. Because I think that was the issue in the India series where um, it wasn't enough runs in a sense. I mean, yes, the bowlers could have done
well,
better, but that's
it's just Rechin wasn't in any form
oh
in that
yeah,
series
yeah.
whatsoever.
And that costed them. That probably costed them an
Definitely.
extra 20, 30 runs. And it could be enough to get out this group. I mean, we'll talk about the next team, but that is a major concern. But in terms of the replacements of the retired players, I quite like Jacob Duffy and Jameson.
Yeah,
I mean, they're sort of that
definitely.
tall players, hit the deck. I mean, in Asian conditions, it might not be the most effective, but I mean, they can trouble a lot of batters. And I think even in the India series that we've seen, they trouble batters, even though they got hit around for a lot. They're still taking wickets, and that ultimately is what matters. So, yeah, definitely the Kiwis, they'll have a big grudge to sort of at least make the Super 8 this time around. In terms of making the semis, I think it could be difficult, but I do see them making the Super 8s.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, moving on to then Afghanistan, who was sort of the story of the last tournament. I mean, reaching that semi-finals, it felt like everything fell in place. I mean, with like Fazal Haq Faruqi swing the ball, and then the top two with Gurbaz and Ibrahim. I mean, the biggest question is, can they repeat that semi-final performance? I mean, we saw in the Asia Cup recently, they didn't have the best of showing. Um, I don't think they made it to the Super Fours, so we've sort of seen this Afghanistan side. They've been the same throughout. I mean, you have your core of the likes of Rashid Khan, Nabi, Mujib, the leggy, Noor Ahmed.
Yeah.
You sort of have that core, but is that core capable of sort of taking Afghanistan to the next level, or is the quality of teams around them just stronger this time around?
No, I think that core can definitely take them further because Nabi's always been a very obviously a good spinner, but he's also been a very powerful batsman. Rashid Khan's the same. The spin bowling lineup, a lot of it, like international teams around the world would take Noor Ahmed and Mujib as 2 spinners for them, and then Rashid Khan, and you add Rashid Khan as well into that, who's probably one of the best T20 bowlers of all time. I just always felt like Afghanistan have always been a team like they've always been like a workman's team. They've not had maybe had the flashiest of players with the exception of a few, but they've always kind of like knuckled down, got on with it, and that's why I feel like they've been really good in the last T20 World Cup because no one expected them really to get into the semi-finals, but they did it because, as I said, we just worked around what they had, and they kind of built it around the quality players as well as having other players alongside that, and a lot of them players were very consistent in that tournament because of how kind of workmanlike they all were.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I mean that tournament. I mean, the games they played in the Caribbean, it sort of fell into place essentially, and a lot of credit has to go to Jonathan Trott, their coach. I mean, he's sort of like they've taken Afghanistan, like you mentioned, just to sort of that workman team to sort of that. Okay, we could win games. We could win games against the big teams. I mean, we saw the 2023 ODI World Cup. Well, they almost made the semi-final,
The biggest
like
praise,
out
the big
out
yeah,
nowhere.
the biggest praise you can give to this Afghanistan team now is that when it comes to any kind of major tournament, they're always a team that you look at and say, okay, you consider them now a top team. You consider them now a team that, if you never, obviously you can't take any team lightly, but you look at Afghanistan and say to yourself, we can't let, Rashid, you start to make plans for this kind of team.
Definitely.
You can't let Rashid Khan get on top of us. How are we going to play him? How are we going to be able to deal with the likes of Gulbuddin or Nabi, as you said, and Gurbaz as well? So that's the biggest praise you can give Afghanistan right now, that they've become a top team, a team that everyone looks out for.
Yeah, definitely. And that Afghanistan's first game is against New Zealand, so that is potentially a grudge match for second place in Chennai as well. So expect it to be spin-friendly conditions at the MH Chidambaram Stadium. So yeah, I think with Afghanistan, one thing I did want to say, as you mentioned, teams not taking them lightly. Could that be too much pressure? We saw one journalist say to them, "Is Afghanistan's second best team in India?" With the captain's press conference. I remember watching it. And then they did have the best Asian Cup. I don't know, time's gone since then. But that sort of tag of that, okay, Afghanistan, they're not those underdogs who just perform when it comes to tournaments. They're expected to perform. Could that pressure somewhat like hinder them?
Maybe, but the good thing about it is they've got experience of players who have been in tournaments and stuff and won them. I mean, Gurbaz won an IPL with KKR. Noor Ahmed and Rashid Khan have both won like T20 tournaments. So they've got experience in terms of handling pressure situations. Again, it's just hard for Afghanistan right now because it feels like a lot of other teams, like I said, like your Indias, your New Zealands, your South Africas and Englands, they're so strong that no one really considers any team other than them four a contender to win. But as I said, Afghanistan have always had quality in that team. And they've always had the quality to win games. And as you've seen recently, the quality to get to the end of tournaments. The big step now is going to be getting to a final and winning it. And that, I don't know if they're necessarily going to do that in this tournament. It is going to take time. But if they do, then it will be an incredible moment if they're able to do that.
The big question then is, can Afghanistan make it out of this group? I mean, New Zealand that first game, probably, like whoever wins that probably qualifies along with South Africa.
I'd say just based off what I'm seeing, just based off what I've seen of New Zealand and South Africa, probably not.
Okay.
But that's nothing against Afghanistan. It's just the other two teams are strong.
Definitely.
So it's going to be interesting. But I'm going to say no. I don't think they will. I think it will be a South Africa and New Zealand top two.
Yeah, and I think New Zealand they'll want to get their revenge because Afghanistan beat New Zealand to knock New Zealand out in 2024. So New Zealand will want to get their get back in that sense. And then rounding off the group, UAE, Canada. I think they've been stitched up with this group. And not to like put down on them. I mean, UAE didn't even make it in 2024. I thought they were okay in the Asia Cup in terms of like the lesser associate teams. But yeah, I mean, against Afghanistan, who they'll know because they've played against Afghanistan. I just don't see, unlike Group C, I just don't see any upset potential in Group D. I think Group C, Group B are probably the most competitive, and then Group A and Group D are probably like straightforward in terms of who we think is going to make the top two.
Yeah, I'd say so. I just feel like the problem is there are just some teams in those two groups that are just so good.
Yeah.
I said like England in Group C, you expect them to be top. You expect South Africa to be top in Group D. Then it's going to be about who finishes after them.
Yeah, definitely.
But, it's good. It'll be competitive. It'll definitely be competitive.
Yeah, and I think the longer the tournaments go on as well, you'll see the sort of lesser teams sort of like adjust and pick up to conditions, and the teams who have already played in India, in Sri Lanka, they'll have the biggest advantage deeper into the tournament. Just to round things off, then I think we'll do sort of a overall predictions or like player predictions. Okay. Most runs in the tournament. Who are we thinking?
I'm gonna say it's got to be one of the favorite teams. So I'm gonna say. I think it's hard to bet against Quinton de Kock, isn't it? Like it's really hard with the form he's been in. But again, a lot of Indian players have been that good as well. So you know what? I'm going to say, based on what I saw in the New Zealand series and based on what I saw in the warm-ups, I'm going to say Ishan Kishan's going to be the leading run scorer.
Really?
Based on what I've seen, I
Okay.
see something different in him now than I did a few
Yeah.
years ago, because he always had the talent to be better than he was. He had the talent to play international cricket. The one thing I always questioned about him was his discipline and his kind of. I feel like at times he was a bit too. He took his foot off the gas a lot, and it meant that he was kind of like having these poor runs of form. I feel like since he's come back into the team, what I saw in the New Zealand series, he seems just focused. He seems a lot more determined, a lot more motivated. So I think he's going to carry on this form. And yeah, I'll say Ishan Kishan leading run scorer.
Fair enough. To be honest, I'm just going to go with the obvious option. I'm going to go with his partner, Abhishek.
Okay.
Because I do think India, especially India, the bat, especially if they get to bat first against some of these teams, could we see 300? That's all I'm gonna say.
The one thing I will say about Abhishek is that it's just going to be about. It's either going to be he's going to get off to a really good start and turn it into a massive score, or
Yeah,
he might just get out like first ball.
that's what I'm banking on. But yeah, no, Ishan Kishan's a good show though. Honestly,
in terms of consistency, Abhishek's like been one of the more consistent players. Crazy with the way he plays, but it's a strong shout to go with Abhishek. But I'm gonna back Ishan Kishan, leading run scorer.
Okay, and then we'll move on to highest wicket take of the tournament.
It's got to be one of the spinners. I feel like it's got to be a spinner.
Yeah,
It's hard to. I feel like I could just go for Indian players for every single one of these, but I'm gonna switch it up.
okay.
I'm gonna. You know what? Adam Zampa.
Oh, I like that.
Adam Zampa.
Especially with Australia playing in Sri Lanka, where the ball probably turns a bit more in Sri Lanka than it does in India. Where India's a bit more flatter. So yeah, I like that shout. I don't know who I'm going to go with. I don't know.
Go Rashid. Rashid always has these.
Nah, to be honest, I don't think Afghanistan do as well as they do.
I meant Adil Rashid.
Is another good shout. Do you want? I'm just gonna double India at this point. I'm gonna go Kuldeep. I think he's improved so much. Like since his injury and then coming back into form, I just think every year he's getting better, getting more unpickable. And then you've got Chakravarti along with him as well. He can be up there in the wickets. So
yeah.
As you mentioned, I do think spin's going to dominate.
I'm gonna back Zampa and Ishan Kishan, begging me my leading.
Okay, I do like that, and I do like that. And you see more and more as well. Like spin's being bowled in the depth as well.
Yeah. It doesn't work.
I think majority of the 20 overs will be spin. We could see 12 overs spin, 8 overs pace. I think that will be the combination teams go with.
Well, yeah, especially in Asian conditions, it has always been like that.
Yeah, definitely. Right, flop team of the tournament. Like, which team's getting how Pakistan got embarrassed in 2024? Who's getting embarrassed this time around? Do you want? I'll go first because I've got one in mind already.
Okay.
I'm going West Indies.
I don't
think West Indies make out the group. I really don't. I think it'll be England and Scotland. Okay. I really do. I think Scotland, they're generally just going to go for it.
Okay.
They'll pick up the wins against Italy, Nepal. They'll probably lose to England, and then that Scotland-West Indies game, I've got Scotland winning it. Yeah. I really do. So something's in the air. The fact they just got called up. The fact they got called up for a tournament, it's like the biggest morale boost ever.
I just feel like it either is West Indies or Pakistan in it. It has to be one of those.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Pakistan with the...
I don't know. I just don't know if it could be any other team. But based on, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go West Indies.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go England for the Ashes, just because of the Ashes series.
What? No.
No, it's more of hope that England will.
Honestly, the more I look at that group, there's so many scenarios playing in my head. That's just me overthinking it, probably. But right, biggest surprise of the tournament. This doesn't necessarily mean they make out the group stage, make it into the Super 8s. But who do you think is like, okay, this team actually did all right? Like, who's that team for you?
I'm gonna go Netherlands.
Ooh.
In Group A, because I think
if they beat Pakistan,
if you take India out of that the other 4 teams, sorry, there's competition there. And teams will be fired up knowing that they could get 2 points because of the fact that Pakistan will get 0 points in the India game. There's an opportunity there to, really take advantage of that. So I'm going to go Netherlands. I'm going to go Netherlands in Group A.
I was going to say, I guess I have to go Scotland then if I'm backing them to make the Super 8s.
Yeah, okay.
But honestly, another team who I think is underrated is Ireland. I don't think they'll quite make out the group. I don't know why I'm just backing the European teams. But no, I think Ireland, they have upset potential. I think it's a tough group with Australia and Sri Lanka, but
As I
I'm
said,
going to go...
They always have at least one once a
Oh,
tournament. They have a shock win like once a tournament.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, any other predictions you want to give? Oh, yeah, finalists, and then we'll do our winners. Which two teams will make the final, and then the eventual winners?
It's got to be India, South Africa again, isn't it? I just feel like it's the two main favourites. So it's got to be those two. It's tough with Australia because I feel like if Australia get to a final, they will win. They will most likely win. But again, I feel like Australia is going to be quite reliant on certain players like Travis Head. And again, this is the first time in a long time they don't have Stark, Hazelwood, or Cummins. So maybe Australia might be flop of the tournament. We don't know. But I'm gonna. I think it's just got to be India, South Africa again. I feel like that's the two favourites. You got to put them in.
You're gonna hate me, but
you're not gonna put India in.
I don't know why, but I don't see India making the final. I can see them being like perfect, like through the group stage, through the Super 8, and then get to a semi-final. One bad day, and they get knocked out. I don't know why.
And that's the end of the podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And
I'm not sure how this like seeding works in terms of who they could face in the semi-final.
I've never understood the formatting of this.
Because
and everything, I just never understood it.
I'm gonna quickly pull it up. But honestly, I think it could come down to like a matchup thing. In terms of right, so I've got it here. Bear with me. Oh, this is not the wrong thing.
Just give me the two teams now.
Oh, okay, right. You know what? I'm gonna go England.
Okay.
No bias. England and South Africa. And I think India. I don't think India and South Africa can match up in the semis. So I've got England beating India in the semis, and then South Africa beating Australia in the semis.
Wow.
And then England, South Africa, and then South Africa win.
Okay.
I think we lose. I think England lose the final, but I think it'll be England, South Africa. But as I said, I think India they'll be perfect for like literally the whole tournament, and then it'll just come to that semi-final, like it did in 2016, in a way.
Yeah.
And then where they lost to West Indies, and then West Indies won it. So I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, T20 cricket, unlike ODI, it is very unpredictable. So I mean, literally anything could happen in this next month or so. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Six and Out podcast. Be sure to check out Sports News Blitz on Spotify and YouTube, and be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Thanks, Dejan, once again, and we'll be back with another episode. Thank you and goodbye.